Okay, this is for those about to rock AC/DC. Power song, great classic AC/DC song. I'm a huge fan, obviously. But it's got power chords, but it's actually not that fast, nice and slow. It's also got some nice variations on the same chords that just sound great. It's a little bit of a ballad. It's got a canon. What goes wrong with a canon? I don't know. And then it's got a really cool intro picking part that sounds freaking awesome, and it's actually very doable on the guitar and on the oud because it's done using the bottom strings on the guitar that match really well with the oud. So sometimes it's not perfect, but in this case I think it sounds all right. The challenge here is that you can only do so much on one instrument, whether it's a guitar or oud, so you kind of have to pick which pieces you're playing. So it's key B, B, A is the intro sequence, G, F sharp, and E. So that, just remember, F sharp is just sliding the G down one fret. There you go. So then E, and then a couple of riffs. So either one of those. Okay, so I'll show you those in a little bit, but just keep those power chords in your mind because that's the intro part while we're doing the high picking. So the high picking is done in basically the high B position. So this is the bar chord B, which is that standard bar starting on the 2nd fret, but there's a high version right up there, and that's kind of with your middle finger on the 6th fret. So I'll show you that. That's basically a G chord. People kind of forget that these chords are all doable way up high. So I'm going to show you. Start with a G, which is with your middle finger on the 2nd fret, and then you can slide up to, that gets to a high A. But this is a low A, that's a high A. Then you go 2 more frets, and that's a high B, which is on the 6th fret. And that's the same as B, but it's just higher. So the reason I'm showing you that is because we're going to do some of the intro picking that way. And because of positioning, and I vary the position of this G thing. I'm not doing the standard one. Rather than the middle finger on the bottom and index on the top, I invert that. Same chord, just different fingering, and that allows you to do, you're going to slide your index down, and you're also going to use your pinky up high. So that allows you to do all those. So I'm going to show you that. This is the high B, and there's going to be a few different positions in this intro sequence. You're going to do that normal chord, then slide your index down to the 5th fret with your on the bottom string, and then put your pinky up on the 9th fret, and then on the 7th fret. And meanwhile, you're keeping these fingers the same. And then you go back to the B chord. So watch that again. Index down to the 5th fret, keeping these fingers the same. And then pinky up on the 9th. And then pinky on the 7th. Okay, now I'm going to do the actual picking so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. So you can hear that sounds pretty close to what the riff is, I think. So that's it. I'm going to do it slower this time, but remember, we're just sliding index to 5th, ring, pinky to 9th, and pinky to the 7th, and then you go back to the red chord. So ready? Index down. So that's it. And then while he's doing that picking, then we go into the cool. So that is basically B, A, nice open, G, slide down to F sharp, and E. And then the in between is basically, you've got 2 options, and both are E, E, A, E, E, D, E. So the high one is up here. The high bar chord for E is up on the 7th fret. High bar chord for D is on the 5th fret. I'm just doing the bottom 2 strings. And because I'm going back and forth, I put the ring on the 7th and the index on the 5th so I can go back and forth. But just like that. Or you can slide it up and like that. So that's the high one. So it goes. Like that. Or you can do the low one, which is the same thing, but basically using the E and the D bar chords down here on the 4th and the 2nd fret, upper 3 strings. So basically index or ring finger on the 4th, index on the 2nd, and you can slide it. So you can do one or the other. You can do the high one first and the low one second. Like that. And you notice, remember, where you can have some flexibility with how you play a chord depending on what's coming next. Want to make your life easier, so you'll see I did it a little bit different depending on which sequence I did. So when I did the high one, I know I'm going to need to get up a little bit higher, so rather than doing my ring finger ending on the E, I did my index ending on the E, and that allowed me to get up easily to this. But then the next time when I did the low version and ended on E, I did my ring finger there just because I know I'm going to be doing these ones right here. So it's just positioning and make your life a little easier. Always simplify when you can. That's the intro stuff. Then the next part is the actual part of the song, which is similar. It goes B, A, and a quick D, A, and then E, and then G, E. So you're going to go and keep doing that until we get to the chorus. So. Chorus. For those about to rock, we salute you. For those about to rock, we salute you. So then now you're going back in the verse. So that's it. And then there is one kind of last sequence where it does things slightly different. Where it's got for those about to rock. And then with the canon, and then it goes into some other power chords. I'm gonna show you those. So you start with B, for those about to rock, and then goes G, G, D, A. Then B, those about to rock, G, 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 D, A. Yeah, those about to rock, fire. And then you go G, G, D, A. And it goes. Then you're going into the slower part. There's a certain number of those I don't exactly recall, but if you play along the song, you'll get it. Then it holds on the G. Then the B, U. G, G, D, A. For those about to rock, B. G, G, D, A. It just keeps going about probably 8 times. I don't remember the number, but all the way to the end. Those about to rock, we salute you. We salute you. And it starts holding the same chords. So you're just kind of keeping doing that to the end, and then on the very last one, then goes the basically B, A, G, F sharp, B, and it kind of ends there, but it does it slow. So it goes, it's kind of hanging on B, then down to A, then the G, F sharp, then B. And that's it. So that's a way you can simplify for the uke. Really fun if you play with a separate instrument. Somebody can do the high picking, and then somebody else does the power chords. There you go.